Dominican Republic. Let's see now the other side of the island. In the last video we checked Haiti, now we check Dominican Republic on the same island, and let's see how different those humans actually live. So let's start with population numbers. In this part of the island, it's pretty much the same in the other side. It's 11.5 million people and still rising, growing rate pretty much going down. But look at this, 1955, only 2.7 million people living in this island with a growing rate about 3.1%. That will be roughly 80,000 people. Migration on minus 7,000. Median age around 15 years old, and fertility rate, one of those nonsense, hugely nonsense, 7.7. Urban population around 27%. Fast forward to 2025, the population grew tremendously. Now they're around 11.5 million people and still rising. Yearly change around 0.8%. That will be roughly 92,000 people. Migration, 35,000 people on minus leaving the country. Median age around 28 years old. Fertility rate 2.2. And urban population 86%. Now in the future they project the population by 2050 is going to be 12.9 million. So you can see already 13 million people living in this country, and just 100 years ago only were like 3 million, let's say, not even that. So it's insane huge of people increasing in population here. Yearly change is going to be about 0.3%. Yearly change is going to be like 36,000 people around that, and migration still on minus 16,000. Median age 36 years old, and fertility rate now it's much more manageable, 1.8, 1.9. It's much better. Urban population 93%, so pretty much 100% of people living there. Life expectancy much higher than we see in Haiti, but still, even here it's huge life expectancy. It's 74 years for both sexes. Females around 77 and males 70. Infant mortality rate 24.8 at death and age of 5, 30. Those are huge numbers. Like, they don't have a medical system, even though you might say the Dominican Republic, it's actually a pretty good looking country, and clearly in that department they're doing very poorly. Now here they speak Spanish. In Haiti they speak French, so it's gonna be a difference there in culture, let's say. Now ethnic group here, it's 71 is mixed, 18 whites, and only 7.4% are blacks here. So pretty interesting comparing what we see in Haiti. Religion 75 Christianity, and 22 no religion. So yeah, pretty simple there. Now demographics, also interesting compared with Haiti. Now they have a male surplus in population. Probably a lot of them coming from Haiti to work, I guess. But keep in mind, a lot of those Dominican Republic still leaving the country, if not so, even a bigger number than we see in Haiti, or very similar to that. So there are people still living in the country. Things are not looking exactly perfect here either. But on this island, we're gonna see which one it's better. Now, significant male surplus in population by the age of 60, and after that we're gonna have a slightly female surplus in population. But that's pretty normal for every country. Yeah, pretty interesting pyramid, as you can say. The base is gonna be narrow, but we're gonna see that in the future it's gonna get narrow and narrow. So yeah, population, it will go down at some point. Economically here, the GDP is around 135 billion US dollars, much better than we saw in Haiti, and the PPP around 334 billion US dollars. Growing rate, yeah, minus 6.7% in 2020 pandemic here, probably because of the pandemic. A lot of economy probably is based on the tourist industry. 2021 they got that back at 12.3% on plus, and then in 2023 was around 5%. So I would say it's absolutely a minimum 5%. They should have around 10%, but I guess it is what it is. Per capita, it's $12,000 nominal. Huge increase comparing with Haiti, and PPP around 30,000 US dollars, pretty decent. Agriculture 5.5, industry 33, and services only 60. This is 2017, probably improved by now. In 2018 they have a 3.5% inflation, which is not exactly ideally. Ideally it's going to be like 1. Ideally for this system, ideally it's going to be like 0 or go on the minus at some point with another system, not this one obviously. But for this system, ideally it's going to be like 1%. Here they are almost 4 times above that, so not exactly great. Unemployment in 2020, 7.1, still very high, even from the Dominican Republic is pretty high. Now main export is gonna be United States, and they're gonna import also a lot from United States. So yeah, pretty standard there, I would say. Corruption, well, corruption in Dominicana, let's call it like that. It is, let's say, slightly less than we saw in Haiti. Let's find them where they are. I think it's Republicano, Dominicana, no, yeah, no. Dominican Republic, maybe they can gonna be like D. Yeah, Dominican Republic, no, that's, where is it? Look here, Dominican Republic, 36 points, 4% increase in a good way. 36 points, yeah, not, still more corrupt, perceived as more corrupt country, so yeah. Things not great looking there. Now with the new metrics that I added, income inequality here, let's see how well they're doing in this department now. Dominican Republic, it's an upper middle income country with 37 in 2020, 37 points, I would say. 37% I think of the population, 37 points on the scale to 100. Now the idea is to have this number as low as possible. Ideally it's going to be like 1. 37, not exactly a great one, but not the worst one, and definitely much better than we've seen Haiti. History wise, well, pretty interesting. Here you can see the Haiti was on the French side, let's call it like that, and now Spanish side, even though it was a different, look at it, Santo Domingo was part of the French, and then the Spanish got over it. Yeah, pretty interesting, I would say. Why one side it's bigger, why Haiti it's smaller than the Republic of Dominican? I think that was a story, I'm not sure if I remember correctly, where it's just like two guys and they drinking and say the last one who stands up and walks the most distance, that were gonna be the land they cover, that was gonna be their country. And clearly the Haitian side, the guy didn't take that well, the drink. I'm not sure if it's real or not, I'm not sure if I say it right or not, but I think it's something around that. Somebody knows better, please just say in the comments. Now let's see the main event of the video. Let's see how those people actually live, how the life it is in Dominican Republic. I already see a much better street view, so we're gonna start. I think the capital is Santo Domingo, yeah, it's in the south, it's right here, I guess. Yeah, let's start with that. Let's, as always, go randomly on the map. Here we have a lot of street views, so a lot of things we can actually see. Now I expect a huge difference, and I already see a huge difference comparing with the other side of the island, with what we saw in Haiti. Now this is 2019, just before pandemic, so yeah, not a worry in the world, I guess. But things are looking better, I have to say. It's looking better, looking pretty good for them. Again, comparing with the other side, comparing with what we saw in Haiti. Here, clearly on the French side, let me see this one. Yeah, on the French side it was much worse than on the Spanish side. It's not very often you can say that, but here clearly is the case. Now bars on the windows, clearly even here they have a huge problem. They have corruption. Keep in mind, corruption always follows by the crime rate. It's just the way it is. They have a lot of problem here with crime rate, 100%. Cables, which I don't like it, but somebody from the other videos that I make, especially in I think in Chile, they said they cannot bury the cable because they have earthquakes. They're gonna get it more expensive over time. I give you that, okay, fine, but you need to have a better solution, because this is actually looking also worse. And they have hurricane here, so you know, earthquakes, hurricane, they kind of both are in the, I don't know, one of them, if you put them on the poles, the hurricane is gonna knock them out. If you put them in the ground, the earthquake is gonna cut them off. So all that, so you always gonna have like a good side and a bad side. Now I rather again see them buried, or another, I don't know, system, and just not see them like that. It just looks absolutely horrible. Look at this, but I don't know, maybe it's just me. Yeah, here on the streets in Santo Domingo, things clearly are not looking great. Look at this, people just pretty much living in a cage here. Again, crime rate not so great, and I can see bars everywhere. Yeah, just don't like it that much. It's just the way it is. Garbage here again everywhere. Probably they take again from the Haiti side. They're already looking better, I give you that, fine. But still, things not exactly in a great stage. Now here I can see a Range Rover. That's an extremely expensive car, even from the European, even from the Western European, from the Western world. That's like, for us here, it's at least 120, probably 150,000 euros or dollars for a car like that. So clearly some people doing very well in here. Here we have some barbed wire, most likely. Yeah, so yeah, again, that crime rate shows in the image. You don't need to have the numbers. That's actually very nice house. Ooh, looking pretty good. So yeah, here people clearly they do much better. But again, this garbage, the barbed wire, the bars on the windows, they tell a slightly different story than we would like to see it. But again, we kind of compare here with Haiti, and the difference is day and night, I have to say, just way too different. Now when you have bars to the last level of the building with 1, 2, 3, 4 stories, yeah, things not even great here, but probably it's a good neighborhood and they get a lot of, I don't know, broken houses, not sure exactly, but this car's also expensive, that Ford. Yeah, probably they attract a lot of thieves here in this region. It seems to be a good one, judging by the buildings, at least. Now, apartments, not a big fan, but at least they're looking pretty decent. Those cables, again, not a big fan. This one, look at this, it's like they living in a they are birds, and they they just have, I don't know how they call it, an olivery, I don't know exactly how they call it when they keep the birds, but it looks like that. It's just bars all the way up. Not a pretty sight. It's just no thank you. Maybe we can find the good neighborhoods. Even those didn't look that bad, judging by the trees. Can we find them by the trees? Now here not that many trees, but let's see how those people live here. Now yeah, they have bars here, those one have bars there. Not again, not that pretty. And this is 2019, so more than 6 years ago, or exactly 6 years ago. Not exactly very recently, but still, I don't think they improved that crime rate that much. So can people just cut off those bars? But the street looks pretty nice. You can see very nice, very narrow, small ones. They park their car inside, which is pretty good. Again, bars on the windows, which is extremely bad. Those one they don't have it, so probably they take a huge risk here, but at least they look much better with those bars on the windows. Let's check this one. Doesn't look so great from above, so yeah, I have a good instinct now. A lot of garbage here, pretty much no paved roads. Again, 2019. Not a great place here, not a great place, but still it's probably what a decent place would look in Haiti. So I guess on that side, I can compare with Haiti because they are very close to each other and they have similar population on the same island, so I think it's kind of fair to compare them. But the difference, yeah, is day and night. It's way too different, much better, even though it's far away from a Western standards and far away for actually good one, a good country. But compared with what they have in the region, especially with the neighbors on the same island, it is way better. And judging by this, trying to build a sidewalk, I guess here, and this is 2019, so probably by now they already paved those roads, so probably they looking much better. From this satellite I don't see it, but clearly I am 100% sure that they did it much better. Now here they have some houses at some point, probably because of the hurricane they knocked them off, or maybe they just started the construction. I'm not sure, but that's a huge house, by the way. This is 2019. And yeah, keep in mind, it's on the same island. They have hurricane here too, so A lot of garbage here. I don't like it. Look at this garbage. That's on the people there. That's not has to do with the government at some point. It's just the people itself. Now, ooh, they have some sort of a monument here. Let's see this one. Looks pretty interesting. I have no idea what it is, but it's reminds me of the communist era, I would say, judging by this concrete. Let's get closer, maybe it's better. Nah, a lot of concrete. But hey, they might like it like that. Let's see from the distance. Yeah, okay, not that interesting in monuments, just was kind of stand out there. Good neighborhoods. Well, judging from above, this one could be. Look at those pools here. Okay, this one, it's a good neighborhood. Let's see how those people live in a good one. So the sidewalk is just absolutely horrible. Lines, cables, you already know my opinion. Garbage in front of your house is just not acceptable. Houses, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, barbed wire, of course they have to have some barbed wire. There is no way we can live without that. So probably again they make a lot of money, those people who sell those barbed wires and bars, and also who install those make a great buck. That's a huge house there, and again barbed wire here. They don't have cameras, maybe they have, but they're hiding and that's why I don't see it. Yeah, things not exactly the best way, look at this, to live in this neighborhood, even though it is the best, if not one of those. Se vende is for sale, it means. Either though, oh my god, it is clearly a much better house to live. The fact that even in these neighborhoods the rich people still have to, you know, install bars on the windows and barbed wires, it shows that no money in the world can buy you security in places like this. It's just you have to have those. Look at this, bars everywhere on the windows. Just not a pretty image, I have to say. See, that's why it's better to invest in the country and not have this corruption. See, corruption always kills, no matter what. And when you have corruption, even you might have some much more money than the average of the country. You're still gonna feel it because the other people's gonna be that much poorer. Well, you're gonna have to mount some barbed wires and some bars on the window. So you're not gonna live like you like it either. So here, whoa, here it's actually pretty good. Here it's much better. I don't see bars on the windows and I don't see barbed wire. So clearly this one, it's better. I don't know, maybe they don't care about thieves, or because I kind of highly doubt that those guys just not so far away from them they have it and here they don't, and it's not like a gated community or something like that. Even though we have a gated community, still it's not gonna improve that much. Yeah, some people have some bars on the windows, but not every single one of them. But the houses here are very nice. Here it actually could be a nice place to live. Unfortunately, again, a bit jammed together, but not insanely high. Somebody just built here. This is 2019, so maybe they got even better by now. Who knows? Yeah, some people still have some bars on the windows, as you can see, but I didn't see some barbed wire, which is pretty good. That's a nice land here. That's absolutely a great house. I'm not sure exactly if they build it for renting or something like that, but this one, it looks like extremely luxury here. That just shows luxury. That's 100%. Look at this. That's a nice house. That doesn't have a fence here, so yeah, maybe it's the crime rate's a bit lower here, but I highly doubt that. Look at this guy, just bars everywhere. Yeah, houses here, very Los Angeles, I would say. Very nice, very California vibe. It gives me that vibe. It looks very nice. And those palm trees here also very nice. They keep their cars inside their yards, except this guy for whatever reason, and this guy probably is working here, but still. That's a good neighborhood. Whoa, what's happened here? Just let me close. Look at this. That's a nice house. That's a good neighborhood. This one is for sale. I'm not sure it's gonna be that cheap here. Probably it's gonna be extremely expensive. even by judging by the cars and houses. Those are expensive properties here. Even here of the end of the streets, this land, it could be nice. That's a Mustang right there, abandoned, and that's a Land Rover. That's a Defender. That's a Beetle. Phew, those are expensive. I don't recognize this one, but those three are expensive in Europe. Yeah, clearly here on this part, they are the richest of them all, I guess, living in these places. If not the richest, still living very well. They living like better than, I don't know, 80% of the Europeans or in the Western world. So pretty good here. And they have this. They don't have that many plants. We see they don't have that many trees, I would say, but still, it is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Especially once you cross this line here. Yeah, it is nice. Probably they make a lot of money here selling houses, especially to the, I don't know, those wealthiest from the country. Ooh, that's a nice house. Okay, we are not here to look at only on the houses. Let's check the other parts of the island. There is a lot of things to check here, and I want to make this video as short as possible. So yeah, so far we saw some people, like I say, in any country where you go, we're gonna live very well. So here they're living extremely well. That's a nice place to live. Oh, look at these guys. They have pools everywhere here. Not sure, maybe they are hotel or something like that, but... And this is 2020. And I don't see that pool. Oh, they have after the building. Okay, that's why I didn't see it. I want to see the beach. I want to see... because here is going to be, look at this. They have some golf course. Here is going to be the main event. We didn't see that much in Haiti. Here, I hope it's going to be exactly the opposite. It's gonna look great. I'm sure of that. If we can find some great 360s. Let's check this golf course because it looks nice, and they have those nice villas. Look at this. That's a nice place to live. Come on, that's a nice place. I'm not sure if those are from renting or they're actually private properties. If they're private properties, whew, yeah, those living the dream right here. That's a pretty much a front beach property almost, or at least a front golf course property. They are rich. And I want to check this one, not exactly on the beach but very close to it. Yeah, those are living the life. Those are the ones that are living the life. Oh, let's check this one. Yeah, I like it. I love it. See the difference between Haiti and Dominican Republic? Way too much difference. Way too much. Ooh, let's check these neighborhoods. Let's see how nice those humans living here. Fortunately, oh, it's working now. It's working. I already see. Fortunately, it doesn't load that fast. That's an expensive car. And this is 2020 pandemic here, so not that many people on the streets, I assume. Yeah. Pretty empty. Not exactly particularly excited here in this small town, but still, let's check the beach. Let's go on the beach. Yeah, pretty nice. 2017 here, and yeah, it is great. It does look great. Ooh, I think we have find a jewel right here. Also not developed, nothing stupid like that. Yeah, they living here. Clearly, if you have to go on this island for whatever reason, somebody just force you to live, choose the east side in the Dominican Republic. Don't go in Haiti. The difference is day and night. Yeah, it is nice. Probably this one is for renting. They're doing great place here. Fortunately, this one has to go on the other side. Come on, I want to see the road. Yeah, pretty good. 2023, very recently, and the road is impeccable here. It is nice. What I can say, I can't lie. Let's check this city. Ooh, look how huge it is. Yeah, road's pretty nice, and keep in mind it's pretty much the same population as they have in Haiti. And in the future, they're gonna have less population than they're gonna have, let's say, by 2050 in Haiti. So things, again, in Haiti are not on the good track. They have more corruption. They will have more people. They will have, even by now already, have a much less economy than Dominicans have. And with all that, they still choosing to multiply themselves. Now, it's other factors there. I'm not gonna go inside in them, but even here, you see, things are not looking that great either. We have bars, we have those ugly cables, you have garbage on the street. It's not perfect, but comparing with Haiti, oh, what is going on here? Those are insane cables. Compare what happened there, yeah, the difference it's way too big. Some people neighborhood don't do so well, so I'm not exactly sure. Usually the golden rule is like 10% in any country. 10% of the population is doing very good, 1% of the population they're doing very extremely well. 1% is doing, there's no difference between let's say the richest countries in the world, how those people live, and whoever has like whoever is in 1% of the any country usually. So yeah, they're very well. So 10% of the population usually, again, the golden is very well, but you have that 90% that is not gonna look that way. It's gonna struggle, and a lot of people from that 90% it's because they have such a huge fertility rate back in the day. If they kind of manage that, let's say, much better in the past, now the situation is gonna be much different. But thankfully, we kind of wake up to that problem, and now we kind of take some action. Not exactly very, I don't know how I say this, in agreement with everybody. A lot of people say, oh, we need to have an increase in population as an infinite. I'm not agree with that, but clearly people realize that we are too many on the planet, too many in the country. Yes, some barbed wire here. And not exactly they take action because of that. It's more like because of the poverty, but back in their mind, I believe they thinking of that. If we were less, maybe we'll be living better, and most likely it is the case. So yeah, I think even I don't think it's a hidden plan by the government to keep the people poor, so they stop multiply themselves until they realize it. Because with poor countries, as we see with Haiti, they have even more people than they have in rich countries. In rich countries, again, we kind of realize that just that people, we don't need that many people. We don't want it to have that many people, and even you see that young couples don't want to get married, don't have kids that much. Now, as a general rule, usually in life, it is great to have one kid, even 2 kids if you're doing very well. If you are in that 1%, 2 kids is the maximum, I would say. If you are in that 10%, 1 kid it's enough. You have to provide a lot for those kids. But if you are 90%, you're still gonna have kids, and most likely your kids is not gonna do much better than you do. So yeah, maybe it's unfair to say like that, because just rich people can have nice things, and now only rich people can have kids. But it's not exactly, I would say, your fault. It's pretty much what happened in the past with those huge number increasing population, and probably by the end of the century we're still gonna struggle with population. Ooh, that's a nice place here. Yeah. So oh no, they don't cover faces here. Still pretty nice, very nice. So yeah, we still have some problem overall on the planet. In countries, we already see them going down. I believe, especially with change the system, having an older population is not gonna be that bad as those liberal tries to say it. A lot of garbage here, I don't like it. So yeah, I think we're gonna find a very nice middle ground in this regards. But we have to going down in population, and in the West we already started, which is pretty good. Again, the West has the advantages. It started already. The rest of the countries, they will still remain a lot of years from now, a lot of decades from now, poor, and they're gonna say it's not fair because the European or the Western countries always have an advantage. Yeah, we kind of wake up earlier than you, that's why. And you're not gonna see it now. Now you're gonna see, and especially keep in mind when they're gonna pretty much close the border for non-Western migrants. You're gonna say again, it's unfair. Well, it's not exactly that. But we're gonna see in the future how in a Western world they are gonna live much better, especially with less population. And in the rest of the world, who still choosing to have a lot of kids, things are not gonna end well for them. And also, like I say, with the banning on not even traveling, I would say, we already start that. We see that in US, Europe. We will follow very soon. Not to mentioning refugees and all that. Not even a chance to go back to came here. And also, a lot of those who came, they're already gonna get deported. Well, what is gonna do? Especially we're gonna go in Africa and we're gonna see how those people live. We're gonna have a lot of young people, like a young male there that they don't have a lot at all. No prosperity, not plans for the future, no nothing. You're gonna end up with a lot of wars there, and that's not gonna be a good outcome for anyone. But I guess they're gonna choose to blame someone, and usually it's gonna be the Western powers, just the way it is, I guess. But yeah, it's look at those cars, all Jeeps. It's like a club or something, maybe. Yeah, probably again for those countries that still have on a surplus in population, surplus growing in population, it will not be that pretty for them. And even from a lot of countries in Western Europe, they have a increasing population just because migration. And like I said, when they're gonna stop that and starting deporting all those, they came, I don't know, they have some rumors that anyone came here in the last 30-35 years. Yeah, they're not gonna, they pretty much, even they will took those that's what we saw in the US, the birthright citizenship, and they're gonna be gone. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah, a lot of those people are gonna get deported when they're back in the countries. We saw in the US people like they're living in the US for the 20-25 years and still got deported. Like I said, I always see in my videos, that's a nice place here. Look at this. Europe's and the Western world is like a coin. It has only two sides. One side is what we see now with mass migration and all that nonsense that's going on with them. And on the other side, it's going to be exactly the opposite. There is no middle ground here. That's the point I'm trying to make. And you can look at the history. It is what it is. This is how it operates. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on those third world countries or even second world countries that have an increase in population. It's not going to look good for them. It's just the way it is. Wow, that's nice here. I like it. It looks a bit man-made, I would say. I'm not sure, but it is nice. It is nice. So yeah, Dominican Republic, day and night, much better. Not for everybody. Again, they still have increasing population. The medical system pretty much doesn't exist with those high numbers in death under age of 5 and infant mortality. Yeah, economic wise much better than we saw in Haiti, but far away from the Western country. A lot of decent country, a lot of garbage, a lot of cables that I don't like. Some very nice neighborhood that living, like I said, better than 80% of the Western world, but they are most likely for a very small percentage of people. Not probably, again, I think it's like 1% or maybe 10%, something similar to that what we saw in other areas around that nice one. But I guess 80 to 90% they're living in pretty much poverty. Not by the, let's say, these island standards, by the world standards. So yeah, they kind of figure again. They're gonna see some. They already see dropping in growing rate and not in population. But keep in mind, a lot of people still look at this. They're gonna have 0.3 in 2050, but still growing. But a lot of people choosing to leave the country. Look at this. Those are all on minus. So things again, not that well. And probably it's gonna be the same case. They go outside, they work, they come back with the money, and then spend it on nice house, cars, all they have, but you still have to keep bars on the windows, so not exactly a great investment in my opinion. Great investment would be like health system, education, low corruption, better urban planning, and like I said, usually economics follows with that. Economics like a fish, I would say. If you give him a nice sea, even a nice aquarium with what he needs, he will grow and flourish. So it's like that, in my opinion, from what I see so far. Economic also always follows, and if he has a good environment. If you don't have the good environment, you're gonna struggle no matter what. That's a nice beach here again. Probably a lot of tourists here. It seems to have a great place for a vacation. Like I said, when you go in Caribbean, when I make those videos in South or in Central America, yeah, it looks nice. Nicaragua looks nice, and Costa Rica even better. But coming from the US or the Western world or the Western Europe, it's gonna be a much tougher sell. What we're looking when you go in a country, how nice it is, and also we kind of have in back our minds how safe it is, because again, doesn't have a great reputation for safety, those countries. And which countries has the safest and the cheapest also. You have the cheapest travel there, cheapest hotels, cheapest food, cheapest attraction. You're gonna make a lot of money. With time, you're gonna make a lot of money. But you have to offer, first of all, that security. That's the most important. Can you imagine if it just start dropping bombs here? How it's gonna do that to the tourist industry? It's gonna pretty much plummet. See, it is that important in my opinion. Yeah, I think we see enough in this country, in Dominica. It looks great, landscape-wise, absolutely great. But not exactly why they gave me there. Yeah, look at this, very nice place to spend a vacation here, especially if you get good weather and not a hurricane. Have some nice stories here. Again, I hope it's gonna be cheap, because if you make it cheap, again, you're gonna make a lot of money. You can have two ways to make money, even though you make it expensive and very exclusive for very few of them, or you make it cheap and available, and you're gonna make pretty much more money. Because let's face it, when you have cheap, even let's say the expectation is not gonna be extremely high. It's gonna be much more manageable. With rich people, you can never make them happy no matter what you're trying. It's just the way it is. They always looking for the next level, and all that nonsense. So yeah, now here what I don't like, it's kind of crowded beach, so you have to keep away from that either. Don't develop just one region and just jam it everybody together. We don't like that either. So it's not gonna be a great advertisement on the long run. If you keep it small and nice, again, you will do great. So yeah, they're doing already great, so hopefully they're gonna improve with time. Nice place to make a vacation. For living, not so much, but again, day and night difference between them and Haiti, so I guess they done something right in that department. So yeah, that's the Dominican Republic, República Dominicana. Nice place for a vacation. Especially if you can get good weather. Maybe you can like hurricane. You can get in a hurricane season or looking for one. Maybe it's gonna be cheaper. Who knows? But a nice, very nice place for a vacation. It's Caribbean, for God's sake. Come on, it's gonna be great. So yeah, until the next time, check the other videos and leave a comment, especially if you go there in a vacation. How was it? I was right in my observation. I was missing something. I wasn't exactly that how things are there. Also, if you live there, even better. Tell us the story, how things are there, how you see them in the next 25 years. And until then, we're gonna see you next time.